What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Street Scene channel. A lot of people are always asking me all about the film and movie cars. People constantly come up to me at car shows whenever they run into me. They're always curious about the different cars we have, the different jobs we've worked on. So we're going to start featuring some of those cars on the channel as they come and go. But before they leave, we're going to do a walkthroughs on them. I'll show you what we did and didn't do with the cars, how they worked, what was modified, and give you a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look at the life of the cars after the job's done. So we'll start with this one right here. This will be our first one that we go through. This is a 1992 Ford Mustang GT. It is one of two Ford Mustang GTs that we purchased to use on the film A Journal for Jordan, produced by Denzel Washington. The main character in that movie was Michael B. Jordan, and he was the talent that drove this car. The second car we no longer have, that's gone. That was a 1989 GT. It was pretty low mileage on it, pretty good complete car, good runner. This was the second car. This was our exterior car that we had, which is a 1992. The car was originally white when we got it. It was repainted to black. And we went through it. We did a lot of mechanical repairs to it, such as putting a full set of dual exhaust back on the car. The old pipes were very rusty and they dumped out in front of the axle. A lot of other minuscule problems that had to be mended on it. Fortunately, it actually had a set of these Cobra wheels on it, which the production company really liked, so we were able to just leave those. However, the car did get outfitted with a full custom leather interior as well as many other goodies. So we're going to do a quick little walk around on the car, show you the ins and outs of it, and probably fire it up, take it out, put her out on the road, drive around a little, and just go through the car and go through its story. So we'll get a little up close and personal with the Mustang. The car was actually purchased with these wheels on it. These are a set of 5-lug. They're a Cobra style wheel made by a company called American Muscle. There was a matching set of these wheels, which I actually still have, that were 4-lug to fit the other car, the 1989, so that way both cars could have matching wheels. The other set of wheels never actually made their way onto the other car because it was only used for interior shots, and this car was used for mainly just exterior shots. So anytime you see an exterior of the car in the movie, that would be this one driving up or parked out in front of a house. We painted the car in record time. I mean, this thing full through and through. It was originally white. Actually, I think this car might have actually originally have been red. Then it was painted white when we got it. I found some evidence of blue on it on the door and a couple other parts of the car, so some panels and pieces may have been off of a blue car. And I believe this car got painted within like a week and a half, maybe even less time than that. It was very quick. It actually came out pretty good considering the time constraints. The rear taillights are LX taillights. It had a set of LX taillights in it when we bought it, but they were cracked and broken. I was going to put GT lights in both of the cars, however those were not available. And on the time frame that we had, which was about roughly 3 weeks to build both of the vehicles, I just had to panic order and overnight 2 sets of LX taillights just so both cars would have matching taillights in them. The body is actually in extremely good shape. This car doesn't have any rust on it. It is impeccably clean. The strut towers are perfect. And the paint actually came up pretty nice when I waxed it. There was a little bit more prep work that could have been involved in the front bumper. As you can see, we have a little bit of chipping there, but nothing too crazy. There's a little evidence of blue hiding right in that little notch there. So that's one of like 3, maybe 4 colors that's on this car that you'll find evidence of. But overall, the black paint laid out pretty good, and if that's the worst of it, I'd take it. We did the jams all got painted on it. The hood is, that was ordered from Summit Racing. I don't even remember what brand it is, but we had to buy 2 of them, one for each car. So inside the car, full custom leather. Beautiful, beautiful leather interior, including leather wrap doors, the door panels. Both cars received 2 Pioneer head units. The steering wheel is a Grant Challenger series, which was purchased for both cars. Parts of this interior, I think this car, one of the cars originally had a gray interior, which was probably the 89, and that had to get dyed to black. This car, I think, actually had a factory black interior, but I'll have to refer back to photos to verify that. Under the hood, it's a 5-liter V8 backed by a Ford automatic transmission. And if you look close, we have a little bit of red, which I believe is actually the car's original color, because that's obviously the engine compartment. Then there's evidence of blue, very minuscule, a little bit of blue there. And then up onto the aprons it goes white. And this is really the only place on the car you could even see evidence of color change, is in the engine compartment, which we didn't paint because you're never going to open this, and even if you did, no one's going to notice on a film set. The engine, aside from just being dusty, just from the car sitting in storage after the film was done, it's very complete. There's nothing missing. The air conditioning and everything is all there. The AC blows warm. It looks like it still has its R12 fittings on it. No one's converted it over. And I'm not going to. So it's probably not hard to fix and get working since everything's there, including the condenser, but that is just not something I'm going to dive into. The car runs and drives great. That's really all I need out of it. And yeah, it's very solid. I mean, one of the toughest things that I ran into trying to purchase cars for this film, because I did have to get 2 Ford Mustang GTs. Both of the cars had to be the 90s body style with these types of headlights and all the ground effects. So buying a 4-cylinder car was not going to work because I needed to have these bumper covers. I needed those rocker moldings. I needed the vents by the wheels. I needed all the GT moldings. And I needed the deck spoiler. There's so much stuff that you had to make sure was exact so the cars would match. So we did end up having to pretty much purchase 2 GTs, and they had to be in good condition because we did not have time for a restoration on either car. Okay, so I parked it too close to the wall, so I got to sneak in through the passenger side. I think the battery's hooked up. Hopefully it's charged because the car hasn't moved in a while. That's the fuel pump kicking on. Let's fire her up. The idle on this Mustang is a little bit choppy, but I believe this car does have some internal engine work done to it. It sounds like it probably has a cam in it. It's pretty fast. Between the two cars, the 89 and the 92, this car was significantly faster than the 89. I mean, this thing hauls ass. It lights up the tires, it chirps gears even with an automatic. I'm pretty sure somebody has invested a camshaft, a shift kit, and there's A-cell ignition wires under the hood, and looks like an A-cell coil and distributor in there as well, if I'm not mistaken. It runs great. It's a blast to drive in. And I was honestly surprised at how nice this car came out, because this was the rougher one of the two when we had bought them. And you know, after a paint job, putting the interior back together and fixing the mechanics on it, this thing really popped. I have to say, I'm actually very impressed. Got a beautiful sounding exhaust on it. That nice, good, throaty Mustang 5.0 rumble. Now that we're outside, I'll get you a better view of the interior since we have some more lighting here. The carpeting was replaced. The car received a new headliner. Any missing trim was put back in it. The dash was all torn apart when we got it. It's all back together now. All the gauges are working. The radio works, although it has only 2 working speakers. Power windows work. Everything in the car seems to function aside from the air conditioning. This is the leather. This was all custom done. The headrests were removed. That way they could get better, I think that was for pan over for the camera. Back seat was upholstered as well. This was not a cheap interior job, let me tell you. This was thousands of dollars to get this done, especially in a time crunch. And that's the leather wrapped door panels. Actually, that might actually be vinyl on the door panels. I shouldn't say leather on that, but that definitely, the seats are done over in leather though. So I'm gonna get my windshield mounts for my cameras, and we're gonna take her out for a drive. Runs good. Runs real good. Just get her out onto the main road. Signal on. We gotta clear it to the right. We'll go right instead. Gonna lean on it a little bit. Runs good. It's got some pep to it. You step on it, it sounds great. Downshift's nice. Got some good skip in its step. Don't worry, he wasn't coming for me. Looks like he had more important things to do. So we'll just take a cruise through town with it. Steering's nice and tight. It's actually a very fun car to drive. I'm personally not, like, I think Fox bodies are cool. I'm more of an IROC person. I think the Camaro's just got a nicer interior. You can lounge in it a little bit better. And I like the smoother ride. I think they're more well planted. Fox bodies, I think the back ends get a little too loose. I think they fishtail a little too much. It's easy to throw it into a pull. Not as much control to the car as you'd like. Nonetheless, they have a great following. And people love them. And it's a decently good looking car for the 1980s. Not as good looking as an IROC, but what do you want me to tell you? It's just not. Sorry. Unfortunately, this car isn't automatic. If it was a stick shift, it would really be a ball of fire. An automatic to stick in one of these cars is night and day. Before, it had like a crazy weird overdrive transmission with this crazy overkill for the overdrive unit to get better fuel mileage out of the car on the highway. Right now the car's rolling in the overdrive, which is fine on this back road here. But you could just hear the crazy difference in gearing when I kick it out of overdrive into the regular drive. I mean, any type of acceleration you want to do, it ain't going to happen in the overdrive gear. The second you put it into overdrive. Now, you'll hear a bit of a clatter in the back. That's actually the rear hatch. The latch is a little bit loose. It doesn't close quite right. That's partially because it's not adjusted properly. During the filming of the movie, and during the filming of most movies, more often than not, your hero car, which this is a hero car, ends up having things dismantled, pulled off of it, swapped around. You know, they'll take doors off the car, they'll take the hood off, they'll take the rear hatch off. Reason for that, obviously, so they can get better camera angles and camera rigging in the car. So the hatch had come off this car on multiple occasions to mount the camera in the back. That way they could film going in. So they had to hatch off this car, they had to hatch off the 89, and this car also had its hood on and off a multitude of times. And at the end of the day, when you've just worked a 14-hour day on a set, and you have to drive 2 hours home, and all the parts for the car are all laying on the ground, you're gonna throw everything on as quick as you possibly can, get the thing loaded on the truck, and get the hell out of Dodge. Now, is the hatch a difficult thing to readjust? No. Am I gonna do it? Probably not. I'm very lazy. So that will just rattle and somebody else will eventually fix it. Overall though, I mean, we're going into some turns here. This thing actually handles pretty good. Hopefully I don't have too much wind noise. pretty sure I was doing about 55 there, and it said 102. So that gauge might be a little bit off, but the tach read's accurate. The coolant temp and everything's good. It's a pretty well dialed in car. This car, not that bad. Really not that bad. I would not constitute this as a basket case or a victim of the film industry. In my opinion, this thing's in even better condition than when we got it. They really didn't damage anything when they were shooting with it. Very minuscule stuff. A couple pieces of interior trim might have gotten a couple of cracks in them. And aside from the hatch and the hood being out of alignment, this car really came back in pretty good order. And you could actually drive it like a car. It didn't leave the set all bashed up. They didn't abuse it. You know, a lot of times, you know, I've had cars I've picked up, they're leaking coolant, the front ends are falling apart. I hear stories all the time about somebody loaned out a vehicle that might have been a manual transmission. An actor will just lie through his teeth and say he knows how to drive a stick shift just to get the part. Well and behold, you get your car back, your trans is all messed up, and your clutch is smoked. Now, I don't mean to overhype this car. I think it's a pretty big deal that Denzel Washington was producer of this and working on the set. I think it's very cool that Michael B. Jordan was sitting right where I'm sitting driving this car. But, you know, it's no Bluesmobile. But, I mean, coming into today's world of film and movies, custom cars aren't really what they used to be. You know, this is one of the more radical things we've done in a while. A lot of the cars, they remain mostly stock, mostly for budget reasons, I'm sure. When you talk about building a car for a movie and doing like this big custom car, whoa, we're really just a paint job, some wheels, the power bulge hood, a lot of stuff you could have just bought out of a Summit catalog. We just made a nice little hot rod, as per requested. And everybody was very happy with that. Now, the one nice thing about these Mustangs is they are actually going up in value. So if you do have one, they're a great investment. And I'm happy they're going up in value because we have one. Granted, we're in the process of getting rid of this car, but you know, it's nice to not lose money on everything that we purchase. Well, we're getting a little low on fuel, and I don't want to put gas in it before it sells, so we're going to start hightailing our way back to the garage and put her back in storage. This car should be able to find a new home soon. We have a couple potential people that were interested, and somebody has actually already left a deposit on the car. So hopefully that goes through, and the guy will be getting himself a pretty cool Mustang. But I did want to take it out. I wanted to feature it. I wanted to show it to everybody. And we're going to be doing stuff like this regularly. We'll be doing some of the repairs. I'll start recording some of the repairs that we do on some of the cars. And just one by one, going through all the different vehicles we have and all the neat things that we have to offer. It's a very cool collection of stuff, and it's definitely something I want to share with you. So, until next time.